In the final duel aboard the Death Star between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, Luke sends Vader down the stairs with a powerful kick to his torso. Unwilling to strike down his father, Luke deactivates his lightsaber as Vader gets back to his feet. Making his way back up the steps, Vader remarks how Luke was unwise to lower his defences, before aiming a strike towards Luke. Luke ignited his blade just in time to block the attack, and the duel continues. But what if Luke had been wise to lower his defences? How had this changed Star Wars history? As you're about to see, a lot changes. Staggering to his feet, Vader approached Luke with his lightsaber in his hand, ready to strike. But to his surprise, he sees Luke with his emerald green blade deactivated. With the Emperor observing closely, he knows he has to strike Luke. Giving Luke a coded warning, he makes a lazy strike into the side of Luke, expecting a green blade to meet his own. With an elegant sidestep, Luke evades the attack, still not igniting his blade. At this point, Sidious rises from his throne. He was not pleased with his apprentice's poor attempt at a strike. Perhaps his personal feelings were interfering with his fighting abilities. As the duo moved back down the steps to the entrance of the turbo lift, Sidious glided across the floor with malicious intent. Seeing Vader continue to hesitate, Sidious had had enough, and sent a bolt of force lightning, hoping the pain would fuel his apprentice. Feeling a sudden burst of pain through his body, Vader stepped back and lowered his blade, as Luke did the same. Looking for the source of this pain, he turned his head to one side, and met the Emperor's cold gaze. Vader presumed that the Emperor had been trying to provoke him, but this would not work with him now. Now, he knew who his master truly was, a decrepit pillar of evil. Turning to face the Emperor together with Luke, the duo menacingly walked forward, as the Emperor ignited his previously hidden blade. Using one hand, Sidious uses force signing on Luke, which Luke could only partially block with his blade. As the pain began to course through him, Vader locked blades with his former master. He knew he would not be able to hold him off for long, but he needed to buy Luke some time. Suddenly, the Death Star rumbled, as the rebel forces began to penetrate the surface of the once feared space station. The damage caused results in Luke tipping towards Vader and Sidious, and reigniting his blade assists his father. With the station now stable again, the trio rise to their feet, knowing the end was near. With one last effort, Luke and Vader force push Sidious out of the glass behind the throne, shattering the glass, and forcing Luke and Vader to cling onto a pair of railings. However, due to the space now created in the window, several pieces of debris fly into the throne room, with one hitting Luke hard in the shoulder, relinquishing his grip on the railing. Vader stretched out with one hand, and catches Luke with the force, but Luke is now unconscious from the subsequent hits. As the influx of debris slows down, Vader, whom himself is not in the best condition, heads back to the main hangar, with Luke's body over his shoulder. Hopping into an Imperial shuttle, Vader circles the moon of Endor, attempting to find a way out amongst a myriad of rebel pilots, but he finds himself to be immediately surrounded. Surprised they are not shooting at him, he allows them to guide him to the surface of the moon, and finally collapses with exhaustion. Meanwhile, Princess Leia just received news of an Imperial shuttle escaping from the Death Star. Together with Admiral Akbar, they decide to allow the shuttle to descend to the surface, sensing the faint presence of Luke and another figure. As the shuttle lands, she notices that his landing was rather rough. Unusual for the normally highly skilled pilot that was Luke. Going inside with several rebel officers, they are horrified to find the collapsed Vader and the unconscious Luke. All the officers point their blasters at Vader, waiting for some kind of retaliation, all except one. An elderly looking gentleman stepped forward and slowly removed the first layer of masking off of Vader. Finally awakening, his eyes flutter open and they are no longer their Sith yellow. Anakin Skywalker had returned. Straining to look at the elderly gentleman, Anakin is able to recognize it was Rex, and pointing to his son, Rex hurries over to take care of Luke, whilst the officers decide to restrain Vader. Leia can only look away in disgust. Luke may have stated that this machine was his father, but as far as she was concerned, Vader had killed her father with the destruction of Alderaan. Several days later, Luke woke up. Finding himself in a bed, he attempted to get up, but was stopped from the pain emanating from his shoulder. The beeps of his trusty droid R2-D2 made him turn his head to the side. His eyes widened at what he had heard. The rebels were about to execute his father. Ignoring the pain, and swiping away the medical apparatus connected to him, he looked for his lightsaber, but it was nowhere to be found. Looking at R2, a spare lightsaber popped up from his dome, and taking it, he limped outside. Pinned onto some kind of trellis, Anakin was heavily bound and looking weak. With a throw of his lightsaber, Luke broke the binds with one smooth motion and rushed over to catch his father. The rebels were astonished to see Luke back out. They had thought he would be incapacitated for long enough to avenge the killing machine of Vader, but alas, it was not to be. With one last look of hate towards the rebels, Luke headed back towards the medical facility with Anakin. That is it for what if Luke was not unwise to lower his defences. Please like this video and subscribe for more tips. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd like to see next. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.